Thank you, Ms. Marga. Wow. Yeah, it feels wild to be back on the very storied, very sacred elm tree shaded hillside after so much time. I was a member of the class of 2019. So 3 years ago in this very spot, I was receiving my diploma in a pre-COVID world that felt completely different from the one that we live in today. I don't know about you all, but sometimes I look back on that pre-COVID version of myself, in that pre-COVID version of our world, with the cautionary anxiety that a parent might have for a child about to start their high school years. I feel perturbed knowing that the situation which that younger version of myself was about to be thrown into would cause some very difficult times for him and for everyone else. I would feel dejected by the fact that there is no way to avert the struggles ahead, and yet, nonetheless, still faithful that somehow everything would still work itself out. Now, I don't want to equate high school with the COVID lockdown. I bet that most of us probably had a little bit more fun in high school, but the reality is that for the class of 2020, the two cannot really be separated. There's no way around the fact that the pandemic has altered your Lawrence Academy experience in ways that might feel disappointing or even slightly tragic. We can't deny that COVID has left a mark on your time at LA, but we also must remember that in no way does that mean that LA has left any less of a mark on you. That's something about this place that will always amaze me. It seems that anyone who is lucky enough to attend the Lawrence Academy is permanently imbued with this certain blessing, a seed of invaluable experience which will never leave them. Whenever I get together with my former classmates and we talk about our times at LA, I always see their faces light up as they describe in such detail the memories they hold so dear to their heart. I hear them laugh uncontrollably as they all take turns telling the same exact story about Mike Templeton doing something that Mike Templeton does, or as they tell of their exciting windroom adventure to some incredibly cool location. But this seed of experience that I'm speaking of is not simply fond memories. There's something deeper that this place gives its students which makes its impact so significant. When I look at my former classmates and all of you guys in the class of 2020, I see that Lawrence Academy has worked its magic on all of you. Over the course of your time here, it has planted its seeds in you. These seeds are the lessons that your teachers taught you in a seminar, the lessons that a coach taught you in a post-practice conversation, the lessons that your friends helped you learn during a dining hall discussion on a Friday afternoon. These seeds are the impressions that you have acquired from being in a community where you are cared for, where everyone is constantly pushing each other to be their best, where everyone is excited to be present and engaged with life. These are gifts that a very, very lucky few are afforded. And these seeds, if they haven't already, will begin to bloom in due time and will give you strength and the vision to be able to take the world by the horns and do something with your life that is impactful and positive. This seed metaphor that I'm using reminds me of a lesson from a class that I just took this past semester on Yogacara Buddhism. In this course, we explored in depth the concept of alaya vijnana, also known as storehouse consciousness, which is basically, it's hard to describe, but it's like the most fundamental layer of our consciousness of the 8 recognized by this Buddhist tradition. So these traditions hold that every single experience that you have in your life, every single impression that you acquire is recorded in this layer of your subconscious. So in other words, we really don't forget anything on a very, very basic level. So each of these impressions that we acquire plants what's known as a bija, which translates to seed in Sanskrit, in our mind. These seeds could be positive or negative, wholesome or unwholesome. We really have no choice over the quality of the seeds that are planted in our mind, because we have very little control in the real world of what you're exposed to in your day-to-day life. However, the most significant part of this lesson is that we have the power to water certain seeds, to nurture certain impressions so that they will become strong in us. Buddhist traditions uniformly advise us to water seeds that they consider wholesome, that is, seeds that are conducive to liberation, insight, and wisdom. So I will say you are all lucky because throughout your time at Lawrence, you have not been able to avoid the planting of many, many wholesome seeds in your storehouse consciousness. Now that you are no longer here, the responsibility lies on you. It is your responsibility to do everything you can do to water the wholesome seeds which LA has given you, to live by the lessons you have learned here, and to never let go of the magic that this place has given you. For me, and this is for real, like when times get tough, I have a practice of going back into my memory and imagining what it was like to be here as a student, the world that we were all able to create together, the energy which we cultivated as a community. I remember it as something truly precious, truly wholesome, even magical, that every person here contributed to in some way. These memories for me are a wellspring of inspiration, and accessing them helps me to water the right seeds and to not lose sight of what's important. But we also have to remain vigilant, and we have to hold on to the lessons that we've learned. People love to make fun of the school motto, omnibus licet, but in my opinion, it's actually very, very cool. In whatever we do with our lives, we should strive to be beacons of light, of the light that LA has passed on to us, and to let that light shine indiscriminately. This place has loved you. Now it's your time to give that love back to the world. Thank you.